So yesterday I talk about shift in aggregate demand. Okay. So first I talk about fiscal expansion, and when there is a fiscal expansion, okay, IS curve shift rightward. The good market equilibrium schedule will shift rightward. Okay. So given my NM schedule, okay, my IS schedule will shift rightward from IS1 to IS2. Okay. From IS1 to IS2. So what will happen is that we've been having new equilibrium at higher output and higher rate of increase, right? And we have derived the aggregate demand, okay, where this is your aggregate demand, okay. So what will happen is that your aggregate demand curve will shift rightward for the same price level because price level will not change. Okay. For the given price level, when there is an increase in government expenditure, IS curve shifts rightward. Okay. So for the given rate of increase, on the right hand side of NM curve, money demand is greater than money supply. Okay. So when government expenditure increases, what will happen? Aggregate demand increases, output will increase. Okay. So when output will increase, more money will be demanded for transaction purpose. So what will happen? Given the money supply, money demand will be greater than money supply. So new equilibrium in the money market will be achieved when rate of interest increases. Okay. So when rate of interest increases, this much is the crowding out. Okay. So your output will decline from Y3 because full multiplier value will not rise, and actually your new equilibrium will be Y2. Okay. And how to remember this? Look at this. When government expenditure increases, okay, for the same rate of interest, okay, what is happening? When the government expenditure increases, output will increase. When output will increase, transaction demand for money will increase. Okay. Given the money supply, what will happen? Money demand exceed money supply. Remember the graph that we have done? When this is the case, okay, what will be happen? What will happen? At new equilibrium, okay, my rate of interest will increase. So when rate of interest will increase, what will happen? My investment will decline, private investment. And the decline in private investment, how much? It will depend on the slope of NM curve. Since this is positively slope, okay, so what we will see is that there will be a partial crowding out, and my aggregate demand curve for the same price level, because there is no demand, okay, for the same price level, my aggregate demand curve shift rightward. Okay, so this is the first case that we have seen. Next, we talk about shift in NM curve, monetary expansion. Okay, monetary expansion. So when your NM curve shift, given the IS curve, okay, this is NM based on price level P1. The same, it is only the money supply increases. So what will happen? My real money supply increases. So NM curve shift rightward. Okay. So when NM curve shift rightward, my equilibrium output will increase. Why? Because rate of interest decline. Okay. So what will happen is that my aggregate demand curve will shift, but the shift will not be parallel. Okay, it will be a non-parallel shift like this. Okay. So when I am drawing the monetary expansion aggregate demand curve, there will be not parallel shift in the aggregate demand curve. Okay. So we have to remember this part. And here there is only change in money supply. Okay. So when we are talking about aggregate supply, okay, so for at, we can say at each price level, because we have to draw in PY space. Okay, So at each price level, how much firm are willing to supply. Okay, and it depend on, okay, what are the assumptions we are taking, okay, and how our supply curve will look like. So you have done two things. One is aggregate supply curve is vertical, okay, and second thing you have done is that aggregate supply curve is horizontal, okay, and third case will be your aggregate supply curve will be positively slope, okay. So third case we will do in macroeconomics too, but right now we are going to look at these two extreme cases, at these two cases, okay. So aggregate supply represent, okay, at different price level how much firm are willing to supply, okay. So depending upon what kind of economy we are looking at, okay, if we are looking at full employment economy, okay, output is determined from the supply side. Then when we have idle capacity or surplus capacity, okay, more output can be increased, there is an increase in demand, okay, and when aggregate supply curve is upward sloping, okay, so output can be increased with the increase in price, okay. So we have three cases. So when we are talking about Keynesian case or Keynesian aggregate supply, okay, so output is at full employment. Why? Because labor force is fully employed, okay, and this output level we have done many times, okay. This output level is determined from the labor market equilibrium condition, because you have output is a function of capital and labor, okay. Capital stock is given. So once labor force is fully employed in the labor market, the output will be at full employment labor output. You can draw 4 graph and show it, okay. So your aggregate supply curve will be vertical, okay. In the Keynesian case, okay, our aggregate supply curve will be horizontal. Both these are extreme case, okay. Like when you are doing market structure, right now you have perfect competition and monopoly, okay. So here you have perfect competition and here you have monopoly. Both these are extreme case. In between you have monopolistic competition that we will do in microeconomics 2 next semester. Then you have oligopoly, okay. So right now you are studying these two extreme case, okay. So in macroeconomics also you are doing that thing, okay. So this is the aggregate supply curve when you have idle capacity or surplus capacity in the economy, okay. So firm can employ more worker at the going wage rate and that will not drive up the cost. But here, okay, suppose this is your aggregate demand and this is the price level, okay. So when aggregate demand increases from AD1 to AD2, okay, see I shift here parallel. When I am shifting aggregate demand parallel, it means fiscal expansion, okay. So when fiscal expansion takes place, at the same price level, there is more aggregate demand, okay. That you can say there is increase in aggregate demand, okay, at the same price level. So when demand is more than supply, firm want to produce more, okay, and in order to produce more, they require labor, okay. Since labor is fully employed, okay, firm will offer them more wages. Why? Because in order to produce more, they require more labor. So demand for labor increases, okay. Given the supply of labor, you can write as an simply. Given the supply of labor, okay, what will happen? Wage rate will increase, okay. And when we are talking like this, we forget the main assumption every time, okay. So remember the main assumption of the classical model: wages and prices are completely flexible, and there is no money illusion, okay. So given the price level, when there is an increase in demand, okay, so firm want to produce more, it want to hire more labor, it will offer more wages, okay. So when more wages will be offered, okay, cost of production will increase, price will increase. Worker will observe this aspect, Okay, that demand of product is increasing. Okay, that means price is going to go up. Our nominal wage is going to go up. So there will not be any change in real wage. Okay, so they will not offer their work. So what will happen with the increase in wage? Price will also increases, and new equilibrium will be achieved at same full employment output and higher price level from P1 to P2. Okay. In the Keynesian case, you have idle capacity, you have involuntary unemployment, worker are willing to work at the going wage rate. Okay. So when there is a fiscal expansion, okay, aggregate demands curve shift rightward. So at the same price level, say P1, output increases from Y1 to Y2. Okay, and it will not drive up the wage. Okay, because they involuntary unemployment, so price will remain the same. Okay. So in the classical case, you have vertical aggregate supply curve. In the Keynesian case, you have horizontal supply curve. Okay. Based on that, we will be having conclusion. Okay. When there is a shift in aggregate demand curve. Okay. So we will look at this conclusion. Okay. In the ISNM framework also, and in the aggregate demand aggregate supply framework also. Okay. So I am going to look at aggregate demand and aggregate supply in the ISNM framework. So first I am going to look at Keynesian case. Okay. And in the Keynesian case, first I am going to look at fiscal policy, monetary policy. After that, I will look at monetary policy. Okay. So in the Keynesian range or in the Keynesian case, okay, your aggregate supply curve will be vertical. Okay, and you know that NM curve is vertical. Okay. So here we are going to look at two possibilities. Okay. One is NM is vertical, and when NM is positively slope. Okay. So under these two cases, okay, we will achieve the same equilibrium condition, that there will be a rise in interest rate, because NM curve I am drawing with respect to rate of interest and with respect to rate of interest in the IY space. Okay. So here one interest rate will increase, and you know in the vertical case when IS curve shift, okay, there will be increase in rate of interest. So let me draw both graphs side by side. Okay. So in the Keynesian case, my aggregate supply curve will be vertical. Okay. And it is given by the full employment of labor force. So here I have price number and here output. This is output at full employment. Okay. When I am drawing NM curve, okay, so output at full employment level. Okay. So NM curve that I am drawing, yeah, I have to take output at full employment level also. And each NM curve is based on a given money supply, given real money supply. Okay. So when there is a fiscal expansion, so suppose this is initial equilibrium. Okay. So I have equilibrium rate of interest I1 with full employment output. Okay. Here also take the initial equilibrium. Here I have price level. Okay. Say P1, output is full employment. This is my aggregate demand. So when there is a fiscal expansion, aggregate demand curve shift rightward from AD1 to AD2. Okay. In the case of fiscal expansion, aggregate demand curve will shift rightward for the given price level. Okay. There will be more demand for good. So firm want to produce more output. So when firm want to produce more output, it will drive up the price because labor is already fully employed. Okay. So new equilibrium will be achieved at higher price level at the same level of output. Okay. Now look at the case of ISNM. Okay, same argument. Okay. So in the case of ISNM, okay, we see that when aggregate demand increases due to increase in government expenditure, IS curve will shift rightward. Okay. So for the given rate of interest, we give the argument that to the right hand side of NM का money demand get the money supply. Okay, since output is at full employment, okay, so better we don't use this argument. Okay, so what alternative argument we can use? Okay, just go back to the Knassian argument that we have used and utilize that thing. So given the rate of interest when IS curve shift rightward, okay, what will happen is that increase in government expenditure increases demand for non-event fund. Okay, so when demand for non-event fund increases, given the supply of non-event fund, if you remember this graph, given the supply of non-event fund, if demand for non-event fund increases, okay, my rate of interest will increase. So when my rate of interest increases, it will crowd out private investment by equivalent amount. Okay, so here I am having full crowding out. Okay, so this is the argument we have. Just wait. In terms of ISNM framework, it is full crowding out. It is full crowding out. I am taking output to be at full employment. Okay, so remember the argument that we have to use. Zone on which do thing mechanically. Okay, so NM curve will be vertical, and each NM curve is based on a given real money supply. I am talking only about fiscal expansion. Okay, so this is your initial equilibrium. The rate of interest I1, output is at full employment. There your rate of interest, there your output never. Always never the axis, don't forget to do that. Okay, when there is a fiscal expansion, IS curve shift rightward. Okay, so when government expenditure increases, okay, what happens is that given that output is at full employment, okay, so my full employment saving and consumption is given. Okay, so my supply of non-event fund is given. This is given. The increase in government expenditure increases demand for non-event fund. What happens is that demand of non-event fund increases. Given the supply of non-event fund, okay, rate of interest will increase. Rate of interest will increase. Okay, so when rate of interest increases, it crowd out private investment. Okay, this crowd out private investment. By how much? By equivalent amount. Why? Because there is no change in output. Okay, output remains the same. So if my output is say 1000, saving is 500 and consumption is 500, if government increases expenditure by 200, okay, my private investment will decline by 200, and the reason for decline of that 200 is that rate of interest will increase. Okay, so my new equilibrium, okay, in the ISNM framework will have high rate of interest for the same level of output. Okay, right now draw this graph. Okay, this is the case I have shown with vertical NM curve. Okay, I can show the same case, okay, when my NM curve is positively slope. So remember the main argument. I am talking about classical case. Okay, here my aggregate supply curve will be vertical because output is at full employment. Output cannot be increased. Okay, because never force are fully employed. So when there is an increase in aggregate demand, okay, due to increase in government expenditure for the same price level, okay, aggregate demand is higher. Look at this, aggregate demand is more than output. Firm will want to produce more, cost of production increases, so price will increase. At the same time, when cost of production increases, wage will increases. Okay, so when price is increasing, what is happening is that my excess demand is going to reduce. Okay, and when price increases to P2, all my excess demand will be eliminated, and I will be achieving new equilibrium at higher price P2 and same level of output which is at full employment. Okay, same thing we will look at in the ISNM framework, and in the ISNM framework, okay, what happens is that increase in government expenditure shift your IS curve rightward. Okay, so for the given rate of interest, what I am having? Increase in government expenditure. Because output is at full employment, there is no change in output. Okay, remember this argument. When there is an increase in government expenditure, since output is at full employment, there is no change in full employment output. Okay, aggregate demand equal C plus I plus G. There is no known of aggregate demand in determining output. Okay, in the Keynesian case, when government expenditure increases, okay, what happens is that demand for non-event fund increases. Since output is at full employment, supply of non-event fund is given. Okay, so what will happen when demand for non-event fund increases? Remember this graph. This is supply of non-event fund. Okay, this is initial demand or private demand of non-event fund. Okay, this is my rate of interest. This is supply of non-event fund, demand of non-event fund. When demand of non-event fund increases, it will drive up the rate of interest. Okay, when rate of interest increases, cost of capital stock increases, so investment will decline, and it will decline by equivalent amount, so that there is no change in my aggregate demand. Okay, so I will be having full crowding out, and new equilibrium will be achieved in the ISNM model with higher rate of interest for the same level of output. Okay, so I have given the explanation of this part. Okay. This is important, this part, okay. This in the class. So consider ISNM model, okay, where we start with equilibrium, or you can say simultaneous equilibrium in the good market and money market, where equilibrium rate of interest is I1 and equilibrium output is Y. That means output is at full employment. Okay. So we start with equilibrium condition, simultaneous equilibrium condition in the money market and product market, and this equilibrium is correspond to my full employment level of output. Okay. So when there is a increase in government expenditure, IS curve shift rightward. Okay. So when IS curve shift rightward for the given rate of interest, okay, what you have here, now your NM curve is positively slope. Okay, I am drawing with respect to rate of interest. So net analyze in terms of money demand. So on the right hand side of NM curve, okay, when there is an increase in output, okay, what we will see is that money demand is greater than money supply. Okay, so when money demand is greater than money supply, what will happen? Money demand is greater than money supply. What will happen? Rate of interest will increase. So I will move from here to here. Okay, this kind of analysis we do it, but the problem is that output is at full employment. Okay, our output is at full employment, so we cannot use this kind of analysis. Okay, when output is not at full employment, you can use that kind of analysis. Okay, now each NM curve is drawn based on a given real money supply. Okay, so we have drawn this graph for a given price level. Okay, so when IS curve shift rightward for the given rate of interest, okay, there will be more demand for goods. Okay, so when there is more demand for goods, what will happen? Your price level will increase. So price level is P1. Okay, so there will be an increase in price level. Price level increases from P1 to P2. Okay, so when price level increases, what happens? Look at shift of NM curve. Okay, change in real money supply over K. So if you remember, I talk about money supply M by P. When denominator increases, your real money supply decreases for given value of K. So real money supply decreases. Okay. So simple argument, you always have to look at what output I am drawing. Don't make the mistake. Okay, when you are analyzing the thing, keep thing in mind. Okay, what you are writing here. Okay? Since output is at full employment, okay, for the given rate of interest, okay, what I am having no output demand. There is increase in aggregate demand. Okay, so what will happen? Price level will increase. So my NM curve will shift northward. This is my original NM curve based on price P level. Price increases from P1 to P2. Okay, so my NM curve will shift northward. This is my new NM curve for higher price level. Okay, I am talking only about fiscal expansion. Okay, so I have to change money price level. I am not changing money supply. It is related to monetary expansion. Okay, so new equilibrium will be achieved at higher rate of interest and same level of output. Okay, right on. Okay. If you are not taking this output to be full employment, okay, you can talk about this money demand greater than money supply. Okay, there is no issue with that. Okay, so I'm directly putting this to be full employment output. Full employment output. Okay, we are directly appealing to our classical assumption. Okay, and we are using that assumption to drive the cases. Okay? Simply look at the classical assumption. Okay, given the rate of interest and price level, if there is a higher aggregate demand, okay, what will happen? Price level will increase and NM curve will shift northward. When your NM curve is positive instead of when it is vertical, okay, what will happen? When government expenditure increases, okay, given the demand of given the supply of non-event fund, okay, when demand of non-event fund increases, so your rate of interest increases, it will fully crowd out your private investment. Okay, so I'm directly going back to my classical case, okay, to drive on this thing, and it is more traceable. Okay, so I understand in this way more better if you ask me. Okay, next we are going to look at Keynesian case. Okay, let me take photo. So in the Keynesian case, okay, economy is characterized by idle capacity or surplus capacity. So firm can produce more output. Okay, why? Because there is workers that are willing to work at the going wage rate. We have involuntary unemployment. Okay, so at the given price level, more output can be produced. Okay, more output can be produced. So my aggregate curve is horizontal. Okay. When I am talking about ISNM model, okay, here you have rate of interest, here you have output level. At a very low rate of interest, okay, my NM curve will be horizontal. Okay. So when there is a fiscal expansion, this is my initial equilibrium AD1. Okay. So equilibrium output is Y1. Okay. When there is a fiscal expansion, my aggregate demand curve shifts rightward. Okay. So output increases from Y1 to Y2 without any effect on price level. Okay, very simple. We have done many times already. Now look at in the ISNM framework. In the ISNM framework, if you remember, we have a case of no crowding over. Okay. Why? Because rate of interest is not changing. Okay. So when there is an increase in government expenditure and there is no change in rate of interest, okay, then we have a case of no crowding over. Okay. So this is my IS curve. Okay. When government expenditure increases by delta G, IS curve will shift rightward from IS1 to IS2. How much is the shift? Multiply times I at alpha G, because this is government expenditure. Multiply times change in government expenditure. Okay. So full value of multiply will be realized and output will increase from Y1 to Y2. Okay. Simple. Right on. I am saying that next I am going to look at monetary policy expansion or expansionary monetary policy in the Keynesian case and the Keynesian case. Okay. So let's look at the Keynesian case first. here only you need to remember how you have to draw your aggregate demand curve when there is a expansionary monetary policy. Okay. So this is your aggregate supply curve. Here you have price level, here output. Output is at full employment. Okay. Since labor force is fully employed, so my aggregate supply curve will be vertical. Okay. So here we will be having full employment output. And in case of NM curve, we are only talking about monetary expansion. So my money supply, nominal money supply will change. Okay. Here. And here I will be having rate of interest and output level. This is my NM curve. Okay. Based on money supply M1, P1. Okay. So this is my initial equilibrium. This is my aggregate demand. My initial equilibrium is price is P1 and output is full employment. Okay. This is my IS curve. Okay. This is equilibrium rate of interest and this is output is full employment. Okay. Now, when there is a monetary expansion, okay, if you remember the graph that we have drawn in the normal case, where I have taken positive initial of NM curve, okay, what happens is that when nominal money supply increases, okay, your real money supply increases. What is real money supply? M by P. M as I write money supply just for when nominal money supply increases, your real money supply increases. Okay, so there will be a shift in NM curve. If you remember this graph, this is IS curve, this is NM curve. Each NM curve is based on a real money supply. When your real money supply increases, the rate of interest decline. Okay, so your output will increase, and this is your initial aggregate demand curve for the same price level. Okay, for the same price level, if there is a expansionary monetary policy, okay, you have a non-proportional shift in your aggregate demand curve. Okay, this we have done. But here I am taking vertical aggregate supply curve. Okay, why? Because output is at full employment. And you know that this case pretend to you crowding out. Okay, when we are having fiscal expansion. Okay, let's see what will happen when we are having monetary policy expansion. Okay. So when there is an increase in money supply, nominal money supply, real money supply will increase, and we know that aggregate demand curve will shift like this from 81 to 82. Okay. Again for the same price level, okay, demand is higher, then what will happen? Price level will increase, and new equilibrium will be achieved at higher price for the same level of output. Okay, higher price and same level of output. Okay. So when monetary expansion takes place, money supply increases from M1 to M2. Okay, this is my initial money supply M1. Now money supply increases from M1 to M2. Okay, what we see is that price level also increases from P1 to P2. Okay, so there will be no change in my NM curve. NM curve remains the same. So output will be at full employment. Okay, why? Let's look at this case. Suppose this I have done yesterday, but for the bookkeeping I do it. Initial money supply is 100, price level is 1. Okay, so this is how much? 100. So this NM curve is based on real money supply 100. Okay, when there is a monetary expansion, my money supply increases to 200. Now new money supply is 200. Okay, so what I am saying is that aggregate demand curve will shift rightward. For the same price level, there is more demand. Okay, so it will drive up the price. Same classical argument that we have followed. Okay, so price level increases to P2. Okay, and there will be a proportional increase in the price level. So when price level is 1, proportional increase means price level will double, because money supply double, so price level will also double. P2 will be 2. Then the real money supply is 100. Okay, this must be equal to M2 by P2. So there will be no change in my NM curve. Okay, So when we have expansionary monetary policy, there will be no change in real money supply. NM curve will remain the same at full employment level of output. Okay, money nominal variable are changing. Okay, I have nothing to do with IS curve because this is monetary policy, right? Here, price will go up. Okay, in the aggregate demand, aggregate supply graph. Okay, and we are having equilibrium at a high price level for the same full employment level of output. Okay, right on. So here, what we have seen that when monetary expansion is taking place, you can write also. Okay, one more time write it. Okay, when monetary expansion takes place, okay, in the Keynesian case, aggregate supply curve is vertical. Again, write down. When monetary expansion takes place, in the Keynesian case, aggregate supply curve is vertical. So for the given price level P1, okay, for the given price level P1, there is higher demand for good. There is higher demand for good. Okay, since output is at full employment. Okay, so never since output is at full employment, so it will drive up the price level. So it will drive up the price level, and new equilibrium will be achieved at higher price level P2 for the same level of output YF. In case of ISNM model, increase in money supply, okay, we need to increase in price level. So there will be no change in real money supply. So NM curve will remain in its original position. Okay. So there will be no change in my equilibrium level of output and real rate of purchase. Okay. Next, expansionary monetary policy in the Keynesian case. So in the Keynesian case, my aggregate supply curve is horizontal. Okay, and this is my initial equilibrium. So when there is a monetary expansion, my aggregate demand curve shift rightward. Look at the shift, okay, from AD1 to AD2. So we will be having equilibrium at same price but for higher output level, say from Y1 to Y2. Okay, so in case of Keynesian model, okay, when there is a monetary expansion, output will increase from the same price level. We have done the expansionary fiscal policy in the Keynesian case, right? Where you have NM curve, IS curve shift rightward, then full value of multiply is realized. Okay, but here the problem is that the money demand is like this. Okay, when there is a monetary policy expansion, money supply increases. Say M1, this is M2 for the same price level. Interest rate is not changing. Okay, so NM curve is like this. This is 1 point, 1 point, second point, second point. Okay, this is my NM curve. If I am drawing this initial equilibrium, okay, then as long as IS curve is not shifting, okay, I am not able to shift my output level, equilibrium output level. So here, in case of liquidity trap, okay, it will be difficult to depict this case. Okay, so neglect that part. Okay, let me use the positiveness of NM curve that we have used in the Keynesian case. Okay, so to show the thing, let's look at this case. The NM curve is positiveness now. Yeah, rate of interest. They have output level. This is my IS curve. Okay. So when there is a monetary expansion, each NM curve is based on a given money supply. Okay. So when there is a monetary expansion, my money supply increases from M1 to M2. Okay. So NM curve will shift rightward. and here I have higher real money supply. Okay, so what will happen is that this is my initial rate of interest I1, output will be Y1. Okay, my equilibrium rate of interest decline. So when rate of interest declining, okay, output will be higher, Y2. Okay, same thing. So we can depict with this graph better. Okay, because in case of liquidity trade, okay, we cannot show that part. Okay, because we are moving along the NM curve. Okay, and it is perfectly elastic, so it will be difficult. So use this graph. So okay, draw this graph. Let me summarize the argument, what we have done. Okay, we talk about expansionary fiscal policy. Okay, and expansionary monetary policy. Okay, so here, since economy is characterized by idle capacity, okay, so firm can produce more output for the same price level. Okay, here my NM curve is horizontal. Okay, yeah, I have rate of interest and here output level. This is my initial equilibrium. Okay, so my equilibrium price is P1 and output is Y1. Okay, in the ISNM framework, this is my initial equilibrium. Say this is my output level Y1, rate of interest is I1. When I am talking about crowding out, I am only talking about increase in government expenditure. With that respect, I am talking about crowding out. Okay, so we know that in the Keynesian case, there will be no crowding out. That we know that thing. Okay, so when there is a fiscal expansion, aggregate demand curve will shift parallel from AD1 to AD2. So output increases from Y1 to Y2. Okay, in case of ISNM model, when IS curve shifts rightward, okay, given that my NM curve is horizontal, so increase in output will be multiplier time change in government expenditure. So my output increase from Y1 to Y2 and I will achieve full multiplier value. So there is no crowding out. Okay, when we are looking at monetary policy in the Keynesian framework, okay, my aggregate supply curve is again vertical. Okay, since there is idle capacity in the economy, so more output can be produced without increasing the price level, because we have involuntary unemployment, worker willing to work at the going ratio. Okay, so this is my aggregate demand, initial aggregate demand, and this is my equilibrium output. Okay, in the ISNM framework, let's talk about positiveness of NM curve. We have talked the same thing in the classical framework also. So NM curve, this is my NM curve based on a particular real money supply. Okay, this is my IS curve. Okay, so this is my equilibrium rate of interest I1, and this is my equilibrium output level Y1. Okay, so when there is a expansionary monetary policy taking place, that means my nominal money supply increases. Okay, what happens is that my real money supply also increases. So when my real money supply increases, NM curve shift rightward. Say money supply increases from M1 to M2. Okay, so my new NM curve having money supply, nominal money supply M2 and price level same. Okay, so what we will have, we will be having new equilibrium at lower rate of interest at higher output. Okay, so I am plotting this graph here. Derivation we have done already. So shift in my aggregate demand curve will be non-proportional. It will be like this from AD1 to AD2. Okay, so I will be having higher output for the same price level. Okay, so here we see that because of increase in money supply, rate of interest decreases. Okay, due to decrease in rate of interest, you know that output will increase. So there will be increase in equilibrium output. Okay, and in the aggregate demand aggregate supply model, okay, we also see that for the given price level, aggregate output will increase. Okay, and there will be no change in price because economy has idle capacity. So more output can be produced at the same price level. Then the question is how much is the shift? If you remember, output increases from y1 to y2. This shift is how much? Gamma BH. Gamma is alpha g over 1 plus k alpha g. BH time change in your real money supply. Okay, this is what change in output will be this much. We have derived this much. So this shift is given by this relation. Okay, and here since full value of multiplier is realized, so the shift in your aggregate demand curve will be this much. Multiplier time change in government expenditure. Okay, so this you have in the Keynesian case. Next, now we will look at Keynesian case. Summarization of the Keynesian case. In the Keynesian case, aggregate supply curve is vertical. Because you never force it fully employed. Okay, so no more output can be produced. So whatever be the price level, this will be your full employment output. Okay, and in this case, okay, if you remember on the technical thing we have done, NM curve is also vertical, and it is I am directly writing full employment output. Okay, at full employment output, whatever be the rate of interest. Okay, this is my money market equilibrium condition. Okay. So this is my aggregate demand. So I will be having initial equilibrium price P1 with output YF. Okay. So when there is an increase in aggregate demand, okay, for the same price level, there is more demand. The firm will want to produce more. Okay. In order to produce more, they will be offering more wages. So cost of production increases, price will increase. Okay. So wage and price will increase in the same proportion. Okay. When prices are increasing, new equilibrium will be achieved at higher price level and for the same output level. Okay. Now look at your NM curve. So this is initial equilibrium. Okay. This is rate of interest. So when IS curve shift rightward due to government expenditure, increase in government expenditure. Okay. Since output is at full employment. Okay. So your supply of non-event fund is given. Okay. Demand of non-event fund increases. So when demand of non-event fund increases, given the supply of non-event fund, rate of interest will increase. So rate of interest will increase, you will crowd out private investment by the same amount. Okay. Why the same amount? Because output remains the same. If government is borrowing, private investment is falling by the same amount. Okay. So rate of interest increases from I1 to I2. Okay. And new equilibrium is achieved at the same rate, a high rate of interest for the same level of output. Okay. Fiscal expense. In the case of Keynesian. Okay. Now look at monetary policy. So in case of monetary policy, again, the aggregate supply curve is vertical. So this is your aggregate demand curve, initial equilibrium. This is price level. This is output level. I am taking directly full employment level of output. Okay. And this is your NM curve. Okay. And this is your initial equilibrium given the IS curve. Okay. So here you have equilibrium rate of interest and output determined simultaneously, and your output that is determined is at full employment level. Okay. Now when there is an increase in aggregate demand, okay, due to monetary policy expansion, that is money supply increases from M1 to M2. Okay. M1 is 100, M2 is 200, and price level is say 1. Okay. So this real money, this NM curve is based on a particular real money supply M1 by P1. Okay. So when your nominal money supply increases from M1 to M2, so your aggregate demand curve will shift non-proportional way. This is a shift in your aggregate demand from 81 to 82. Okay. What will happen at the same price level? There will be higher demand. Okay. So firm will want to produce more. It will drive up the cost. So since wages and prices are flexible, so both will increase. So when price will increase, we will be having new equilibrium at higher price, say P2, for the same level of output. Okay. So when money supply increases to 200, okay, price level also increases proportionally. Price level increases by 200. So there is no change in your real money supply. The NM curve will remain in the same position. Okay. So equilibrium output will not change in the ISNM model also. Okay. So this is your classical case. Okay. So this is what we have done, and the genuine case that we have taken in the classical case where your NM curve is positively sloped, you can do that graph yourself. Okay. Now let me draw a genuine graph. Okay, for all of these cases that we have done. So I am going to draw a genuine graph. Okay. So now you people know that in case of classical case, okay, how we have to form the argument. Okay, I am taking funding from my output. Remember the argument. I have to take supply of non-level fund kind of argument. Demand of non-level fund increases given the supply of non-level fund. My rate of interest drive up, it will crowd out the private investment. In case of Keynesian, okay, when you are doing fiscal policy, we are taking horizontal NM curve. Okay, but when we are doing monetary policy, okay, in case we cannot take a liquidity trap kind of situation. Okay, we will have to analyze from the genuine case. Okay, like in the classical case, we have done the genuine case also in case of fiscal policy. Okay, in Keynesian case also, when there is a monetary policy, we can take a genuine case and analyze the thing. Okay, when there is monetary expansion, output will increase for the same price. Now genuine case. So here I am writing price level. Here your output. Aggregate supply curve is horizontal. Okay. Then we are at intermediate trends. This is intermediate trends. And this I am going to write in next semester. Okay. And this is the thing that you people should be doing more. Okay. Because I don't have a space, so I rub this part. Okay. Then you have a classical case. This is your aggregate supply curve. Okay. So this range where your aggregate supply curve is positive. Okay. This case is your intermediate case or intermediate range. This is Keynesian range, and here you have classical range. This one vertical. Why? Because here output is at full economy. Okay. So this is the general shape of your aggregate supply curve. Okay. Now it is easy to look at what will happen in this three range. Okay. So in the classical, in the Keynesian range, when economy is in the Keynesian range, okay, when there is a fiscal expansion, I'm talking about fiscal expansion. Okay, this is initially your aggregate demand. Okay, so when there is a fiscal expansion from AD1 to AD2, price level will not change, output will increase. So from Y1 to Y2. Okay. Similarly, when we are in the Keynesian range, okay, when there is a monetary expansion, so your aggregate demand curve will shift like this from AD1 to AD2. For the same price level, output will increase from Y1 to Y2. Okay. So in the Keynesian range, both fiscal and monetary policy are effective in raising the level of output. Okay. Next. Now we are at intermediate range. Okay. So this is your initial equilibrium. This is your aggregate demand. This is the price level, and this is the equilibrium output. So I am drawing only one graph. You can make it proportional shift for fiscal expansion and non-proportional shift for monetary expansion. Okay. So I am doing for monetary expansion, fiscal expansion you can do. Okay. When there is a monetary expansion, okay, what happens that price level increases from P1 to P2. At the same time, output also increases from Y1 to Y2. Okay. When your aggregate supply curve is positively sloped, Look at this case. Price level, here output. When aggregate demand increases, either due to fiscal expansion or monetary expansion, I am taking monetary expansion, so I am taking non-permanent shift. What happens is that this is initial equilibrium price level and output level Y1. So equilibrium price level and output level increases from P1 to P2 and output from Y1 to Y2. Okay, this is my intermediate range. Now in the classical range, okay, what we see is that whether you take fiscal policy or monetary policy, okay, this is initial equilibrium. Okay, whatever you policy take, I am taking monetary policy, so there is no permanent shift. Demand curve increases from AD1 to AD2. One thing happening is that price level increases. So the role of aggregate demand in the classical model is to determine price level. Okay. So these three cases you have when we are talking about aggregate supply, aggregate demand. Okay. Let's do one numerical. The thing will be more clear. Then we will stop for today. Okay. Write down. When you are making the notes, write the question also. Okay. Consumption is 40 plus 0.75 YD. Okay. I am doing only one question. Okay. Investment is 140 minus 10i. Consumption is 40, CY is 40 plus 0.75. This is my marginal opportunity to consume. I have written disposable income here. Investment is I buy 140. My B value is 10, and this is rate of interest. Okay. Government expenditure is 100. Tax is 80. So tax is my only autonomous part. So when on this thing is given, okay, and we are working in a Coulomb economy, you multiply, you should be knowing it 1 over 1 minus c, because small p part is not there. Okay, so I will be knowing my multiplier value 1 over 0.25, small c is 0.75, then it will be 4. Okay, by looking at the question, what equation you have, you should be able to know what will be the value of your multiplier. Tax is 80, and my demand for money is 0.2y. This is K. Responsiveness in money demand due to change in income is 0.2. Okay, minus 5y. Okay. What is 5? This is my H. Responsiveness in money demand due to change in rate of interest, which is H, is 5. Okay. My nominal money supply is 170, and my price level is 2. Okay. So the first question, find equilibrium output and rate of interest. Write down. Find equilibrium output and rate of interest when both markets are simultaneously in equilibrium. When both markets are simultaneously in equilibrium. Okay. I have to find equilibrium rate of interest and output when good market and money market are simultaneously in equilibrium. Okay. So I have to derive the IS equation and NM equation. Okay. Generally I write NM equation in terms of I. Okay. And IS equation in terms of Y. Then when I am deriving the fiscal policy multiplier, I substitute that value. Okay. And do that thing. But in the case of numerical, okay, we will write both equation in terms of Y. Then it will be easier for us to do it. Okay. So my y will be 1 over 1 minus c, because small ct will be 0, because margin tax rate is 0. It will be c bar minus small c t bar. R bar is not there, so I will remove that part. Plus I bar minus g bar minus bi. So I am directly writing the equation. Okay. So this will be 1 over 0.25. This is 40. Tax t by is 80, and this is 0.75. This will be minus 60 plus 140 plus 100 minus 10i. Okay. So this will be how much? minus 20, 120, 220 minus 10I over 0.25. Okay, so this will be, I am directly writing the answer, 880 minus 40I. Okay, this is my IS equation, y equal to 880 minus 40I. Okay, IS equation. Similarly, I will take out for NM equation in terms of y. Okay, in equilibrium, when we are driving the equilibrium, this is my IS curve, this is my NM curve. Okay, output must be same. Okay, since I am writing IS equation in terms of y, I will write NM equation in terms of y. Okay, in equilibrium output must be same, so I can equate both equations. Okay, let me write the NM equation also. I write this part. This way. So NM equation will be money demand is 0.2y minus 5i equal to money supply 170 divided by 2 is 85. Okay, in terms of y I am writing, so this will be y equal 85 plus 5i over 0.2. Okay, so this y will be equal to, let me write it directly, 425 plus 25i. Use the calculator to check this one. Okay, so this is my NM equation. So equilibrium output will be the same, so I equate equation 1 with equation 2. Okay, let's do that part. So when I equate these two, what I will get? I will get my equilibrium rate of interest. Okay, so 880 minus 40i equal 425 plus 25i. Okay, this is my IS equation and this is my NM equation. Okay, when both market are in equilibrium simultaneously, output must be same. Now take that this side, it will be 65i. Okay, and here you will be having 455. When you subtract 880 with 425, it will be 455. Okay, so you will be getting equilibrium rate of interest 7%. Okay, write 7 here. Okay, you will be getting equilibrium output will be 600. Okay, 425, then you will add 7 here, it will be 175 plus 425, it is 600. Okay, so my equilibrium output, this is IS curve, this is NM curve. My equilibrium output is 600 and rate of interest is 7%. Draw this graph also. Okay, I need this graph to explain what we have done now. Okay, draw the graph also. Okay. Next question is, suppose government expenditure increases by 65. Suppose government expenditure increases by 65. How much is the crowding out? How much is the crowding out? So when government expenditure increases by 65, okay, one is this term is changing. So my IS equation will change. Okay, so my IS equation is what? It is given by this term, y equal 1 over 1 minus c bar minus small c t bar plus I bar plus g bar minus bi. Okay, you no need to write this thing. Okay, you have already taken out, just add plus 65. If government expenditure increases by 65, you will be having the same. Okay, so like you have, let me try it properly. Y equal 1 over 1 minus c, this is what? 40 minus 60 plus 140 Now previously it is 100. Since my government expenditure increases by 65, so my new government expenditure is 165. So I write 165 here minus 10i. Okay. So this will be 1 over 0.25. This will be minus 20, 120, 285 minus 10i. Okay. 285 minus 10i divided by 0.25. So my output will be how much? 1140 minus 40i. Okay. So this is my new IS equation. Okay. Since money government expenditure changes, so there will be change in money IS equation. Okay. NM equation remain the same. So NM equation you have y equal to 425 minus 25i. Okay. Okay. Now so I will equate these two. So this will be, this is my new IS equation. 1140 minus 40i must be equal to 425 minus 25i. Okay. 425 plus, this is plus. Okay. So my, I will manipulate this. This will be 65i. Okay. Equal to how much? 715. You subtract 1140 with 425, you will get 715. Okay. So equilibrium rate of interest will be how much? 11%. So this 11 you substitute either here or here, you will get equilibrium output 700. Okay. Substitute here, it will be 225. 11, 250, 275, okay. Wait. 425 plus 250, 275, then it will be 700. Okay. So new equilibrium output will be 700. I substitute here, so I will get a new equilibrium output 700. So initial equilibrium is 600. Okay. New equilibrium at this point it is 700. I am not able to write here. Okay, you can write later. 700. Okay. Then question is how much is the shift in IS curve? Okay. Actually my IS curve is shift by this much. Okay. So next question is third one. How much is the shift of IS curve? Okay. So you know the formula shift of IS curve. So shift of IS curve is multiply times change in government expenditure. Multiply times change in government expenditure. What is multiply? 1 over 1 minus C. How much is the change in government expenditure? In the question it is given that government expenditure increases by 65. My change in government expenditure is 65. And this is how much multiply? Multiply value is 4. 1 over 0.25, 65. So this will be 4 into 65. So this will be 24 to 60. Okay. So shift of IS curve is 260. Let me draw this graph here. Okay. Because I hope this everyone had. Okay. Look at this graph. In the examination, they can ask for this kind of question. Okay, in 1, 2 marks, maybe in 5 marks also. Okay? So this is your initial IS curve. The first question that we have done. This is NM curve. So we get an equilibrium rate of interest 7%. Okay, and equilibrium output 600. Okay. So when government expenditure increases, my new equilibrium output is how much? 700. Okay. How much is the shift in my IS curve? Okay. For the given rate of interest, it is given by this equation. multiply time change in government expenditure, and shift is how much? 260. So 600 plus 260 is how much? 860. Okay. My equilibrium output is this much, and if there is no change in rate of interest, okay, then my equilibrium output will be 860. But since my equilibrium output is 700, why? Because rate of interest increases to 11%. Okay, that means there is a crowding out. How much is the crowding out? This much distance. Okay, so how much crowding out? 860 minus 700 is 160. Okay, so crowding out is 160. And how we can check it? Simple, just wait. Next question is, how much is the crowding out? How much is the crowding out due to shift in IS schedule? Due to shift in IS schedule, right? Or how much is the crowding out due to shift in IS schedule? Okay, so increase in government expenditure, shift the IS curve by 260. From 600 it increases to 860. Okay, so how much is the crowding out? Look at your investment schedule. I equal 140 minus 10. Initially, how much I you have? 7%. Okay. Next, this is how much? 70. Okay. Investment is 140 minus 10. Rate of interest increases to 11%. Okay. So it will be 30. Okay. This is on investment. This is new. So how much is the change in investment? Change in investment is I2 minus I1, which is minus 40. Okay. So how much is the change in income due to my fall in investment? Will be given by multiplier time change in investment. Okay. And multiplier value you know it is 4, right? And my fall in investment is how much? By 40, minus 40. So my decline in output because of increase in government expenditure, okay, due to decline in private investment is minus 160. So you can see that. Okay. So my crowding out is 160. Okay. So my equilibrium output increases by 700. Okay. And there is a crowding out of 160 of private investment. Okay. So here we are having a case of partial crowding out. Do it. Next, write down, in order to eliminate this crowding out, write down, in order to eliminate crowding out or to realize full multiplier value, and for the multiplier time change in government expenditure, in order to eliminate this crowding out, that means I want my output to be this much, okay, and there is no decline in private investment, okay, that is what I want, okay. So write down, in order to eliminate crowding out or to achieve full multiplier value, how much should be the increase in nominal money supply? How much should be the increase in nominal money supply? Okay. So always remember, I have to increase money supply by so much that my rate of interest not change. Okay. Then money there will be no crowding out. Crowding out happen because rate of interest increases. When rate of interest not change, okay, there will be no crowding out. Okay. And this is simple to verify because we know the formula of shift of NM curve. Okay. I have this point. So I want to realize full value of multiplier. Okay. I want to achieve my output to be 860. So I want to know how I can do that so that there will be no impact on private investment. Okay. Graphically I have done that. Okay. Numerically now look at it. So shift of NM curve is change in your real money supply over K. Okay. This is your initial equilibrium 600. Okay. New equilibrium I want 860. Okay. And what is the my shift in IS curve is 260. You can say that because I want to achieve full multiplier value. So how much shift of NM curve I want? 260. Okay. New equilibrium output is 860. Initial is 600. I want to achieve this value. Okay. So I require 260 shift in my NM curve. Okay. And this is the value of multiplier time change in government expenditure. Then I achieve this 860 output. Okay. So this much I require shift of NM curve. This must be equal to this. What is my K value? 0.2. Okay. So how much change in real money supply I require? Equal 260. 0.2 I take this side into 0.2. So you just divide point, you can write like this. It is 52. So change in M by P is 52. Okay. And what is my price level? 2. Okay. How much change in money supply I require? 52 divided by price level I take here. Okay. Let me write it properly. Only to hurry. Only price level is changing. Money supply is changing. 1 over P must be equal to 52. Okay. The change in my money supply required is 52. Price level is 2. So it is 104. So when money supply increases by 104, okay, given the price level, my real money supply increases and my NM curve will shift rightward. So there will be no change in rate of interest. Okay, and I will achieve my full value of multiplier or equilibrium level of output 860. Okay, right on. Okay. Next, let's talk about fiscal policy multiplier. Okay. Suppose I don't want this kind of situation. Okay. This is particular person. Now, I want to know what will be my fiscal policy multiplier. Okay. Then my equilibrium, new equilibrium output is 700, and rate of interest is 7%. Okay. Question is, what is the value of fiscal policy multiplier? Okay, and fiscal policy multiplier is given by gamma, which is alpha g over 1 plus k alpha g b over h. Okay, and this gamma I have got change in income due to change in government expenditure. Okay, so here how much is the change? Gamma time change in government expenditure. This we know. Okay. How much is the change in income? From 600 to 700. Change in income I know is 100. How much is the increase in government expenditure? It is 65. Okay. 65. So what is my fiscal policy multiplier? 100 divided by 65, you will get around 1.5354. Okay. So this is the way you can do with graph. Okay. Now look at this formula. Even from this formula, I can get this value. Okay. This I depicted directly with graph. Change in income is 700. Okay. Divided by how much is the increase in government expenditure? 65. You get this thing. Okay. Alpha g is what? 4. 1 plus k is 0.2. Okay. Alpha g is 4. B is how much? 10. And then you have h is 5. So 1 plus 0.2 multiplied by 4 into 10 by 5. Okay, you do this thing, you will get also 1.5354. Okay, same thing. Okay, so this will be your fiscal policy multiplier. When government increases expenditure, okay, what will happen is that rate of interest increases, there will be partial crowding out, and you know how much is the crowding out? 160. Okay, is the change in output. Actual investment formed by 40. Okay, so overall your output is increases from 600 to 700. Okay, so my increase in output, okay, will be 100. My increase in government expenditure is 65. So my fiscal policy multiplier gamma is 1.53. Okay, so whenever government expenditure increases by 1 rupee, okay, my output will increase by 1.5, means 1.5 rupee. Okay, this is what we have